Hey guys, Thomas Cecily Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie The Convent. So, this movie follows a lady, I believe her name is Pacifica or something like that, but for simplicity's sake, I'll just call her Pac, like Pac-Man. So, Miss Lady Pac was about to be executed for being a witch. And this takes place back in 1960, like back when 1970 whatever's, back when the whole witch trials were a big thing. So yes, she has been seen as a witch. However, this nun steps up to the plate and essentially says that she will take her in. They take Pac in to this this church where she is forced to do labor, and she is told that, you know, this is a much better fate than being killed immediately by fire. In the process, she meets a few other younger nuns around her age. Their faith is a little bit more constructed, as it were. She's also told not to speak to anyone outside of this little courtyard. However, when she's doing her job, this man, I forget what his name is, I'll just call him the Man, because he's like the only male character of significance here, starts to try to interact with her, and she ends up getting punished for it. But as the days are continuing and as she's sort of mulling about this big area, it is becoming more seemingly obvious that there's a bit more something going on, as she sees spectral demon-like entities in her own visions, and she even goes in about her past, about why she was condemned, I should say, for being a witch. It turned out that she had what you would call, in more current days, a sort of premonition of what was to come, not knowing that her mother would be ensued inside this fire. So she had called that, it had happened, and then she got claimed as a witch. So, that is her story, and she's telling this to one of the other nuns. I believe that this nun's name is Kendra, but the main nun, the one that brought her in, Pac in, she's very strict, very punishing, always bringing down the hammer of justice or religion, in any small instance. At one point in the movie, she is taken upstairs to facilitate the care of these other not as well off nuns. They have seemed to have gained some sort of unknown sickness. So she's up there tending to them, and then one of them, who has a blindfold off, quote, sees her, and that's the term that Pac uses herself. She's like, oh, this lady who had her eyes taken out saw me, or whatever. So she's let out of there as this woman, like, she's like suffering and screaming and stuff like that. So the nuns' faith, some of them are starting to question their faith. Some of them are praying, so on and so forth. Pac is kind of bipping and bopping back and forth, trying to figure out what's kind of going on here. All the meanwhile, while all that's going on, Mr. Man over here, he's in the town, and he gets told that there is some bad juju in the church by some elder woman in a black cloak. So later on in the film, when he's trying to inquire more information about this woman because he only gave him sort of like a warning, like you shouldn't be around here. So he proceeds to try to figure out more. So he does. He figures out where this woman is. He goes over there, and she talks about how she was a part of this convent of nuns, among the main one that took Pac in, and the two of them survived what is a brutal attack as the original nun and a bunch of other nuns try to see if they can seal their fate and make contact with God. I think that was their original intent anyway. On the other side of that, though, they ended up contacting a demon, probably even the devil himself. The creature that you see is very demon-like, very devil-like, so this demon devil guy possesses the youngest of the nun children, and that particular nun children, her eyes become all white or yellowish white. She rises up and starts killing all the other nuns, except with the exception of the two I mentioned, the main nun and the elder nun telling the story. As soon as she was done with her little rounds, she was unpossessed, and then the other dead nuns came back to grab her and drag her back into hell? Question mark. I'm not entirely sure, but whatever. So that is the story, and he is seeing that above the clouds is darkness. So he's getting the sort of vibe that things are about to go down. Meanwhile, Pac has been gathering some suspicious things going on, while also experiencing some pretty awful things as well. Like the three other nuns, at least two of them, their fates are confined. One of them had taken out her own eyes, much like the one before. Another one stabbed herself. We see what she sees fairly briefly as they were trying to escape at this point, because they're like, fuck this noise, we're getting out of here. However, when this particular nun sees the outside world, it is and when she's looking at the other nuns, she's seeing more demon-like features on them, on top of everything else. So things are not looking really great at all. Apologies if you could see a little gray above my thing, I just noticed that now, but I'm already too far into the review to do that all over again, so whoops. Anyway, moving on. So they essentially, the nuns are falling one by one. They're trying to flee at this point. They had gotten captured. So the remaining nuns, seeing how bad it is, all sort of congregate into this one room, where more demon possession happens and the possessed come back. The ones that had fallen previously have come back specifically. One of them goes up to one of the elder nuns, not the main one quite yet, kills her. This causes Pac and one other nun, I believe, not Kate, but one of the other nuns, goes with her. So she's trying to flee, and she eventually makes her way back to near a potential exit, I suppose, question mark, I'm not really sure, but nonetheless, we get a visit from the man who makes his way in when Pac is being attacked by one of the other nuns that have came back. Not really sure, it's this hallway that goes this way, and then, left to right, and then he comes in from the right side, but they end up going left for some reason. Yeah, I'm not really sure why the layout is that complex when they could have probably just came, when she probably just could have went the way he came from, and then they probably could have gotten out that way. But instead they end up going to the left side for whatever reason. Going deeper into the church, they end up in this room where there's like, the only way out now is like this like crypt of sorts. But before that happened, I'm getting sorry for going a little out of order. The main nun, the bad one, I suppose I'll say now, is sort of like when she sees the demon and Pac interacting, she's like, let the demon take you, it's all a part of the plan, and blah blah blah, cult stuff. But the main nun gets taken out by the nun in the black cloak, while Pac pushes the demon into the fire, into this fire that they set, and that is how they figure out things there. As for the guy, he had gotten taken out, I think that's what it was, like they are about to go back to the right side, and then he got attacked by the right side by one of the demons, like he got killed, so she ends up going left by herself. I think that's the process of that, to make that make sense. Excuse me. Nonetheless, Pac is the sole survivor of this horrendous attack, and she manages to make her way out as the castle church is burning to the ground, and she walks out oh so casually, as reminiscent as her little barn burning is now a church burning, and she is the sole survivor. And that was The Convent, and it's mainly focuses on very cheap jump scares, pretty predictable stuff in that regard. The demon possession stuff was a little bit confusing, but eventually became like, okay, fine. Pretty generic, pretty like, whatever. I would give this movie a 5 out of 10. Like I said, nothing too crazy, nothing too, like, nothing that really would stand out in any regard. But a halfway decent flick, I suppose, and that's my review of The Convent. And if you enjoyed that, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my Discord server, the other to my Patreon page. Any donations are greatly appreciated. Until next time, everyone, bye-bye.